Hey, Cassie Anderson here. Today is July 1st. It is day 912 of my TSW journey. I just finished my 30th month and I'm super excited to fill you in on how this last month went. I've been blogging since 5 a.m. this morning, so I have yet to really shower and do anything with myself. But as always, life is crazy busy, even more so it seems in the summertime with the kids always around. So I want to get this out of the way so I can spend whatever time I have available on them and my endless to-do list. So here we go. Everything is on my blog, so if you want to check out all the details and pictures of my last month, go to tswskinwar.wordpress.com. But basically, this month was so full. The month of June it came and went in the blink of an eye. The kids wrapped up regular school. They had 3 weeks of summer school, and those are just fun classes for our kids. My kids went, one kid and my husband went away for a week to camp. And then as soon as they returned, another kid went away for camp for a week. Everybody's back home now, but it's just logistically speaking, with babysitters coming and going and work schedules and just trying to figure out life and how to accomplish everything. And it's just crazy, right? So at work, I've also, we've had like this summer kickoff thing. I work at a library. If you've been following me, I work with tweens, 9 through 12-year-olds. And when they're out of school, that means I got to up my game at work because I need to accommodate a lot more kids a lot more often. And so we had our summer kickoff party and we were outside a lot just during that day, and a lot of yard games and visitors, and the whole community was there just supporting this event. And so I was outside, it started raining. We took the whole yard full of like volleyball, obstacle courses, slack lines, all the decorations and whatever signs, and we just hauled it in, rain and all. My skin held up really well, and so I'm glad that I just feel like I can somewhat manage like a normal person, right? There are times they're few and farther between now, but whenever my hands do hurt, I'll just ask somebody kindly, hey, can you get that? Or can I? And a lot of times I try to do it inconspicuously so that people don't realize that I'm asking them to do something so that I can do something else that I can do. So that's just kind of how I manage. So that was one big kickoff thing for the summer early on in June. And then I went straight into a whole week of programming for this Avatar Academy that I held for my kiddos. And so every day was a different task, and I was leading this solo. So a lot of hands-on prep work and a lot of hands-on during the classes and different things. But we did some 3D, well, it was a 3D class, but we did like clay model. Actually, I have my little person here. I took a picture of her and put her on the blog. But anyways, yeah, everybody created their own little clay figurine. This is my girl. So yeah, getting our hands, touching that polymer clay, that was a big deal, because anytime that you have anything on your hands, your skin or whatever, it affects you, right? My skin held up really well. I did a lot of hand washing, just rightly so, because that's what you do, right? You play a little and then you wash a little and then somebody else needs help and then you wash your hands again, and then, it's just a lot of abrasive actions on the skin. Anyways, so the next day was costume building. That wasn't too bad. I had some safety pins that I was doing with the kids to help close some things off, with their homemade costumes or whatever. And you know what? Back before TSW, I have to say that my skin was so thin and painful that would really be a hard task for me, and even just to bend my fingers without my skin splitting every time I would bend my fingers. This was a lot easier now, 30 months along in TSW. I could open up all the safety pins, poke them through, close them, not a big deal. So I feel like my skin is definitely getting stronger and healthier, and I love it. So that's good news, right? Let's see, the third day we were working with duct tape and conductive tape, kind of mapping out an electrical current to get from the battery to the LED light, and then we'd fold them up and then make wristbands. You can see all the pictures on my blog. But of course, like duct tape has that sticky glue back and it will stick to your skin, right? So that was a little bit more irritating to my skin, but again, still doable. I'm I'm aware of what to touch, not to touch, just from like my past history of everything bothering my skin. But sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and do it because this is work, and you got to gotta do what you got to do. And so I went through this whole program, and it went really well. I felt like the kids managed really well. They didn't need a ton of help. I had to touch the duct tape, but it wasn't terrible. So I would say by the end of the week, and again, like the last day, we were outside doing outdoor activities again, and same old, same old. But anyways, by the end of that week, I had washed my hands so much and touched so many sticky, icky things along the way that yes, my skin was sore, but it's kind of always sore. Does that make sense? Like, it's nothing that much out of the norm that it didn't bother me that much to set me back too bad. So it was just a matter of just taking care of my skin when I wasn't busy with all the hands-on stuff and just trying to let my body rest and catch up with the day. What else? So then, let me see what else I have on file here to kind of walk you through my month. I took a short trip to Chicago. It wasn't that long ago that sitting in a car for very long was comfortable to me because the sunlight, even coming through, beaming through the windows, would cause a problem with the temperature or the sunlight, and my skin would freak out. I didn't have any problems. I was traveling by myself. The hotel temperature was fine for the meeting place that I was at. I ate healthy and clean, had a salad while I was there. Everything worked out well. So no complaints there. That went really well. I also went bowling. Anybody who goes bowling knows that your bowling ball, first of all, rubs up against, your thumb and your skin, but the bowling ball itself can get pretty oily from going down the lane. And I'm not a regular bowler anymore. I used to be back in high school. But just, when your skin is delicate and you want to take care of it, you want to make good choices, right? I feel like those choices are becoming easier and easier again. I feel like my skin is getting thicker and healthier and fine and doesn't react so much. So I actually had a pretty decent time. And, I did wash my hands. I think there was a short setback, but nothing that my body didn't bounce back from really quickly. And let me tell you, that's the big difference between the winter months and the summer months. Because I feel like the winter months, I really wasn't bouncing back very quickly just because overall the climate was super dry and there wasn't any moisture in the air and whatever, no matter how hard you try, right? It's just, that's the Midwest for you. But I feel like now I'm back on track with, I do a little work, it irritates my skin, it bounces back and heals overnight, I'm back to me again by the next day. So then, what else did I do? I've done a facial mask a couple times this last month. I did it the one time just because I was home alone and I was like, I just want to feel girly and have a girls' night all by myself. I watched a movie and I did a clay mask and then I did a moisturizing mask after that. And my skin perked up so much for like the next week that another week later, I ended up doing it again just because I was like, oh, this feels so good. And anybody who's in their 30s, late 30s, I can see a lot more fine lines and wrinkles. And just by putting on that moisturizer mask and the detox mask, like I could tell like the creases in my skin weren't so deep. So I was just really impressed by that. Anyways, I put a link on what mask I use on my blog if you want to check it out. Okay, masks, because there's like a black mask and a gold mask. I only have a picture of the black one on my blog just because the gold doesn't show up very well, but the gold it's amazing. It's a hydrating mask. Okay, so what else? Okay, we went swimming. Well, actually, I did not go swimming. My kids went swimming. I was in the pool. I got about knee deep. It was freezing cold. I'm like, I'm not going in there. So I just hung out at the pool a little bit and I kind of sunbathed a little bit. It was nice enough to absorb like the sun rays, but not like hot and warm enough like to be in the water. So I just kind of lounged around on the patio chair and watched my kids and hung out. They had snacks. They would run into the shower and warm up before coming out again to the pool water, and they buried themselves alive in the sand, and I helped bury them. So I was in the dirt and the sand and just had a really fun time with them. And again, like my skin really wasn't irritated. I put on SPF. I'll put a link what kind of SPF I use. It's called Infusel, and it's really great for sensitive skin. It's one of the few, let me just go back a little bit. Before TSW, I could barely touch sunscreen. Like I could not use SPF for years. And then I found like 2 brands that I can use. The Arbonne Baby sunscreen, that one was okay for me. And I could only use it like a few times a summer. Because that's how sensitive I was. I just felt like there was, like the more I used it, the more my skin would get used to it, and then it would freak out about it. I don't even know if that makes sense. Like the more it would expect it, and all of a sudden like, so I really kind of spaced it out and paced myself throughout the summer. Like I would only go outside during specific times when it was really worth it to put on the sunscreen. Otherwise, I'd go out for like a 20-minute, 10, 20 minutes, come back in. I wouldn't really stay out in the sun just because I would go sunscreen free. Okay, but that one was one brand that was okay. And then this Shackley Infusel brand I really like, and I can use it all the time. I don't have to limit myself. I can use it whenever I want to be outside. So that's great. So I did use that this particular day being outside. So even though I was soaking up the sun rays, I wasn't like frying my skin. I'm not out for a tan anymore. But yeah, so between the sunscreen and the sand and whatever, I was doing great. And then let's see. Okay, so we went out to a Mallards game, a baseball game, and it was just in the evening, so it wasn't like the sun was beaming down or anything. My skin did great. I didn't even think about my skin the whole time, really. It did start raining right away, which it wasn't in the forecast, but that's the weather for you. So right when we all sat down, it was a staff outing / date night with my husband, and we got rained on for like the first 10 minutes, I want to say. It was just a light rain, and I did all right. And we dried off fairly quickly. It wasn't terrible, and the night went on, and such is life. It was good. It was so good. And then one of the last things I'm going to mention is, 2 things I want to mention. So we built like these bug houses for my work, for the tween program that I was doing. And so I put gloves on. My husband did all the sawing and the wood pre-drilling stuff, and then I was in charge of the screens. So I put on some garden gloves, and I cut big layers of screen down to like small rectangles. And the edges were so sharp that I crimped in like the edges. So that was a big job. It was really dirty, really pokey, really, whatever. And but I got the job done. So that kind of irritated my hands a little bit, just because the gloves tend to rub on my sore spots. And of course, like, it's just a matter of like anything with a scab or something, like it can, just like a certain kind of fabric can just get caught and tug, you know what I mean? So that was really the only irritation. Washed my hands, put on some of my, skin conditioner, I don't know what you call it, like I do a facial regimen on my hands and wrists, and so it feels good. I might go to bed with it a little irritated, but I wake up the next morning and it's fine again, so not a big deal. Lots of vitamin A and C in there. And then the last event that we had for this last month, to wrap it up, it was just Saturday night. We went to go see fireworks on Shake the Lake, or on Mendota Lake in Madison. And if any of you know what happened there was a shooting, but we were not on that side of the lake. We were on the other side. So we were very fortunate for that. We didn't know anything what was happening until after, when we saw Facebook messages and friends, telling us of like they were there in that area. Nobody was killed. There were some injuries from like the masses just like running away from this shooter. And the shooter hasn't been caught either, so be praying for that. And also for, like I said, there were some injuries, but it was just people trampling over one another. So, but anyways, where we were at watching the fireworks, it was really peaceful and calm and wonderful. It was a decent crowd. Everybody was pretty mindful and things were family friendly. We were just kind of on the beach on the side, kind of in the middle of nowhere. But it was beautiful. We were there last year too, watching the same, from the same view. Now, there was a lot of mosquitoes because we're on the lake and it's that time of year. And we got like this little machine. It's called a thermocell where it's supposed to repel mosquitoes. And so I was like, okay, let's turn that on. It's supposed to cover like a 15-foot by 15-foot area. And so I was like, I can go chemical free, right? I can just set this out. It will take care of the mosquitoes. I don't have to put anything on my skin. Brilliant, right? Well, like I had the machine sitting right here next to me, and then I'm like slapping mosquitoes on this side of me. So then I moved it to this side of me, and then, I'm still slapping them on my legs or whatever. And so I'm not quite sure, like I know it worked. I mean, I did not get any mosquito bites. I just had the annoyance of them around me. And so then, and everybody else was smacking themselves silly with these mosquitoes too. So we took like this industrial strength mosquito spray stuff that my husband just threw in the bag. He wasn't there, by the way. My youngest son wasn't feeling well, so they were back at the house. But we just sprayed the area, like the grass line around us and the blankets that we brought along and like the chairs, okay? Because you're not supposed to put on your skin. So we sat down. And I don't know if it takes like so much time for it to work. I don't know, because I'm not like a mosquito expert. And anyways, we were just being impatient just from the annoyance of them. So we ended up taking some off spray too. And we covered the kids. My parents were covered. And I just told them to spray my clothing, not my skin. And I was fine. I mean, the rest of the time was fine. We were able to watch the fireworks in peace. Anyways, I feel a little long-winded today, but at least you kind of get the gist of, I'm not fully recovered from withdrawal, and I'm still going through the same old problem areas. By the way, like in my last update, I was telling you how I was working out. I kind of paused that routine for a while, only because my workout clothing was irritating my skin, and particularly like my top, and it was just making me miserable for like a month. I was just, whatever the elastic or material or the chemicals within the fabric, I don't know, like it just makes you overthink things sometimes, or maybe the sweat or whatever, the way that it holds my skin in those problem areas. I was just getting really irritated and frustrated and painful again. And so I decided, okay, I didn't really associate it with the clothing until I just took a break and everything went away. And I'm like, oh, that's what it was. Okay. So now I'm just kind of troubleshooting what to wear and what my routine is going to be, how I'm going to modify things moving forward. But just wanted to fill you in. That's kind of been my most recent struggle. Otherwise, my skin has been bouncing back, fairly easily from all these other things. So, all right, well, you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in my next update. Bye.